Day 2 of the government shutdown in Washington. Hundreds of thousands of government workers are on furlough right now. Multiple government programs have been shut down. Local financial professional Phillip Shaw from Goldstone Financial Group says this government shutdown will have a widespread impact on consumers. He joins us now to share how you can protect your finances during this uncertain time. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So how could this shutdown impact us? I know there's just a myriad of ways.
You know, so in the short term, I'm not that worried about it. If this turns out to be a prolonged government shutdown, that's where we really start to see issues start to form. In the short term, you might see some, longer wait times at government agencies if you're interacting with anybody. But a lot of the essential services are going to stay open. So you're still going to have Medicare coming in. You're still going to have Social Security open. But if you're dealing with the government agency, remember, all non-essential services are going to be furloughed. That could lead to some pretty significant delays.
And it did. I think it was back in 2018 when TSA agents were still expected to be on the job, but not getting paid. And what happened then?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though they're expected to be on the job, if they're not being paid, you start seeing a lot more of them call off sick, not show up for work, right? There's a lot more people not being present in those jobs. And that leads to slowdowns or even shutdowns at some of the airports. Can be a really big problem.
Right. So we'll keep our eyes on that. What about the stock market and the economy? Does it have an impact on that?
So typically the stock market does fine through government shutdowns. We're still going to have strong corporate earnings. And frankly, a lot of those numbers are still going to come out. Where our concern starts is in a coming weeks or a month, if we don't have the government agencies to release unemployment data, jobs data. Is the Federal Reserve going to have the data that they want to have in order to, say, cut rates again in October? Or do we start hitting pause again on the rate cutting cycle?
Okay, so that'll be interesting. I was hearing this morning that I believe federal workers get paid on a 2-week cycle, so they're going to get full pay today, but in 2 weeks, they're thinking anyway there could be a deal before then because that is when they would miss a paycheck. So we'll see. How can we minimize the impact of a government shutdown on our finances? How do we protect ourselves?
So for ourselves, I'd say stick with your financial plan. I'd make sure you always have an emergency fund set aside, especially if you're a government employee and you're going through this period of time where you're being furloughed. Having that emergency fund, having money set aside is going to be important for you. In the past, we've always, paid back those employees for their furloughed time. But in the interim, you still have payments to make. You still have a mortgage to pay. You still have credit cards or anything else. That's where it's really important to have that plan in place.
How much savings should we have on standby?
So depends on your job, but I always recommend anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and a lot of that depends on how stable is the income, how stable is your job.
And what's the best way to put that money away? Is it like every paycheck we just kind of squirrel away, like money that we're not tempted to spend, or how would you recommend we do that?
So if you haven't started doing it yet, for the long term, put things into your 401k or other retirement savings. In the short term, yeah, I would recommend making sure that every paycheck you're taking at least, say 3-4%, 5% of your paycheck and putting that into some sort of emergency fund, high yield savings. There's a lot of really great online banks, or if you don't know where to start, talk to a financial professional.
Okay, thanks so much. We appreciate that.